Hi everybody, it's Mary Ellen from Create With Me. I'm here in the Creativity Nest for Teach Me Tuesday. Today is a super special day for me because I am celebrating a big anniversary. It's called my Stampiversary. And today, 20 years ago today, I joined this wonderful company called Stampin' Up. So I thought that before I showed you a project, a little throwback project, that we would just kind of have some nostalgia time and what's happened in 20 years. So bear with me, but comment and let me know that you're on, and if you can remember some of these things that I'm going to show. So I joined Stampin' Up in 2003 when my kids were small. I had a 4-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And now they're all grown up and adults. And this last weekend, we had the marriage of my youngest son, who was 10, who's now 30. So now we have 7 in our family. So it's been really exciting. But I haven't seen you for a while. I've been just had some surgery on my hip, and that's going very well, and I'm doing very good. So thanks, Heather. Thanks for the congratulations. Yes, it was a beautiful day. It's a little chilly, but it was sunny when we had pictures taken in it, and overall everything went without a hitch. So I was really happy about that. So 20 years ago, I joined the company, and I'm going to show you like a few stamp sets from that were my favorites, and you're going to probably laugh. But back in 2003, this one actually came out after that. So let me take you down to my desk. I'm going to take you down to my desk. So this is, does anyone remember this? This is the Gorgeous Grapevine. Okay, Gorgeous Grapevine. So this was not the first stamp set I bought. This one was from 2005, but this was one that was probably one of my favorites at the time. Grapevines and grapes were all the big thing and all the rage, and we just had to have it. And I actually sadly, still have my dining room decorated in grapes and grapevines, so we're gonna have to do something about that soon. Does anyone have that one? This one is one of my favorites. This came out the year that I joined Stampin' Up. This was the 15th year. I joined in the 15th anniversary, and it's now the 35th anniversary. And I haven't looked at this stamp set for so long. This is Stella Stamper, and isn't she cute? She's got, back when we had wheels, she's got her little wheel, and she's got all her scissors and glue, and it says I love stamping on her apron. And this is how we are when we go to retreats. We have our little slippers on. She's so adorable. But look at some of these sayings. They still hold so true. It started out with just one stamp, which led to 2, then 3. Now I'm a stampaholic, and I don't want recovery. Anyone with me on that? We'll work for stamps, stampaholic. I'd rather be stamping. That's true. I love stamps. Hand stamped with love by, born to stamp. I think that's me. She who dies with the most stamps win. That could be me too. Home is where the stamps are. And then these are old-fashioned stamps. I cared enough to stamp it myself. If it doesn't move, stamp it. And then here's just some greetings. So I'm wrong on this. I'm gonna go back on that, because this stamp set came out in 1999. But what they did was, during their 15th year, and I'm remembering it now, during their 15th anniversary, they brought out, each month they brought out a stamp set that was retired, that was like a retired favorite, and Stella Stamper was one of them. So I snatched her up, and so now Stella Stamper lives with me, and I think I'm just gonna keep her. I mean, look at these sayings, they haven't changed. Then, now this was probably one of my first stamp sets. This is the one that I'm going to show you today. This was called Feathered Hope. So those of you who know me, that I stamp in the nest, I've always been in love with birds. So there's just something about it. They just make me happy. They just make me happy. Do you have anything that makes you happy? Comment and let me know, because some people might go, well, deer makes you happy, and me, but deer do make me happy, but in a different way, right? Have you ever been on a farm and you say to the farmer, oh, it kind of stinks here, and they go, oh, all I smell is money. So I think when it comes to deer, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, they're beautiful. I love them. My daughter said she saw 8 little white tails out there this morning early when she let the dogs out, bounce away, but they're beautiful. But birds are really where my heart is, and this is really what makes me happy, and hence why 4 years ago when we built this studio, we called it The Nest. So it just has a lot of meaning for me. So let's throw back to this stamp set. I actually had sold this stamp set, and then a friend of mine said, you know, I have this stamp set that when you did my first party, I still have it. Do you want it? And I'm like, yes, I should have never gotten rid of it. I just absolutely love it. But this is the way our stamps used to come. They used to come with in red rubber and then the block. Thank goodness they aren't this way. We had to cut them with special scissors. They're called rubber scissors right here. And penguins make you happy, Heather. Good. I'm glad. Thank you for commenting. I thought maybe I was on here by myself. You used to have to cut the rubber as close as you could, just like this. I'm cutting this because I want to show you. And you had to be really careful. And you know, back in the day, sometimes we would pay people to cut our stamps for us because this was a chore. I mean, you would spend hours you would get an order in of stamps and you would just spend hours just cutting. And then you have to make sure you're not undercutting and making sure you're not leaving too much rubber. It was a big pain in the patootie. So I'm glad that we don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so this would be the greeting, and I did undercut a little bit. And we would take this label, and they were just squares, and we would peel the label off. And usually, whoops, I peeled all the labels off. It's old, so I'm going to put those back on there. Wah! I may have done a big boo-boo here. Oh, okay. All right, so we would just stick the sticker on. It was a sticker. It's a sticker. We would stick it on just like this. And then we would peel this off here. And then it would take us a while because we would have to, hold on, this glue is getting old in there. Okay, so and then we would save these. We never got rid of these because we would use these for dimensionals. So we would look at this, we would be like, okay, you know, it's about, you know, that's a 3/8 of an inch from each side. It's about 3/8 of an inch from the top. I'm going to kind of guess and just center it and hope that we got it in the center, okay? And it's just not the best thing, but that's what it is. And this thing, it says, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. That's from Emily Dickinson. So I wanted to use this stamp from this Feathered Hope stamp set. I'm going to put it right here. If you're watching this and you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll probably be like, why is she using a stamp set that's 20 years old? Well, this is the reason why. It's because 20 years ago I joined Stampin' Up! And I've never really looked back. So it's Teach Me Tuesday. So I feel like I should do a little teaching. So let's talk about inks. So I'm going to stamp this, and I'm going to use an old coloring tool, and that's the watercolor pencils. We don't use these enough, but we still have them. These are the same ones that we have now that we had 20 years ago. And I used to use these all the time. This is how I would color a stamp like this. So we have Memento ink now. The Memento ink is used, this is my teaching time, it is a water-based ink and is used when you use alcohol markers. So you always want to think the opposite. So if we have a water-based ink, then we can use it with alcohol. If we have an alcohol-based ink, such as StazOn, and we used it with an alcohol marker, then the alcohol would rehydrate the alcohol and you would just have mud. So alcohol with water, water with alcohol. And so we'll set aside the Memento. Did you know that we have two colors of StazOn? Yep, they're in the catalog. We have black and we have saddle brown. So I think that because people don't really know we have saddle brown, I think I'm going to use the saddle brown today and use more of a natural color for my birds. While I'm also doing a little teaching time, there's a little cover that comes on your StazOn ink to keep it sealed, because this is alcohol based and it will evaporate. And what we do is usually, I see if I have it on here, I'll take a couple dimensionals and I'll put them on the lid and then put it on, and then it sticks to it, so I don't have to be constantly putting that two lids on. So I just recommend doing something like that. So we're going to ink this up, and this is an old felt pad, so it's going to take a little bit of pounding. These are ones you can pound. You know, our new firm foam pads, you just kiss it like you're kissing a little bunny. But this one you really kind of want to pound on there and get it good and inky. So I've pre-die cut a piece of Whisper or Basic White out of the stitch rectangles, and I'm going to try to get this in some semblance of order. I'm going to kind of push down on it. This pad here is kind of spongy, so okay, it's not horrible. It's not fantastic, but it's not horrible. And then I'm going to bring in my watercolor pencils. So these are the basic colors. This is assortment number 1. And I just store them in a stamp case, and I can store those 13 pencils with 2 blender pens. And I'm also going to show you a little trick that I do, and you're probably going to say that's totally disgusting, but this is the only way I know how to do it. So these blender pens you get 3 in a pack. I want to say they're $9.99, but that's probably what they were 20 years ago. And they're glycerin based, so they do stay wet, but they can get dry over time, especially if you've had them for 20 years. So what I do is I will take these to see if it's wet. It's the only way. I can't tell by so I just touch it. Look at I just touch it to my upper lip. Yep, that's wet. I know it's wet. And so don't call me crazy. That's just what I do. So when you're using the watercolor pencils, I usually do, I just do a nice outline. So I'll just outline my fruit. Here's my apple. I don't have to be super careful because I'm going to blend it. So I'm just blending like that. And then I'll go in and I'll pull the color in with my blender pen, just like so. It just turns this into a really subtle, natural paint. I feel like I have a lot of control over it when I'm using the blender pen and watercolor pencils. Does anyone else love using these as much as I do? The other nice thing is you can go in and you could take some other color, let's say yellow, maybe a little bit of green, if your apple's maybe not completely ripe. And then you can blend that color in the center. So you're just adding, and then you could add more red. You could add, I want it to stay kind of subtle like that. There is a second set, assortment number 2, and I've kind of got those assortment of them here in a cup. I'll just show you a bunch of them. So I'm going to be pulling in colors from there, just like this is Granny Apple Green. Of course, I had to have them all. And then a little color here for the grass. I like pencils because I don't feel like I have to be super careful. I can just kind of brush the color on, come in with my blender pen and just pull it. A little bit of grass. It just kind of hydrates it and makes it vibrant. Vibrant, but in a soft way. Does that make sense? Let's see. Let's use a little bit of early espresso on our basket. So tell me what your first, chime in and tell me what your first stamp set is. Do you even remember and how long ago it was? I had to kind of think about it, but I was pretty sure that this was one of the first ones I bought at a party. My husband was asking me today, like, well, how did you get into Stampin' Up? Or I said, well, I was invited by a friend to a party, and I couldn't make it. I think I couldn't make it, and I said to the girl, well, maybe I'll just have a party at my house, because I was introduced to stamping when my kids were little, and I went to MOPS, which is Mothers of Preschoolers. Does anyone know about that? That's a program through the churches, and they would have a craft time, and I just loved them. And this one lady friend of mine, Linda, boy, that was a long time ago. It was probably 25 years ago. She had talked to us about stamps, and so I would run to, and I've told this story before, I would run to store, and I would try to find stamps that match, the little boy or the dog or the tree, and everything was a different size, right? They were all different size. And it was frustrating. It was so frustrating. And then I found out about Stampin' Up, and this is how you're gonna, just in case I don't mention it, I just wipe the brush off. See, there's a little green. I wipe it off till it's clear, and then it's ready to go. So if you had a question about if you could change colors and use it over and over, yes, you can. Just wipe it off on your grid paper, whatever paper you have here. And I need a purple. Was there a grape here somewhere? Do we have a purple? I think there is, but it's not looking purple. Here's a rich raspberry. I just want to do my little flowers. These are like little, oh, I draw a blank. Not hyacinths. Sometimes I just dot it on there. Should we make this be a little bluebird? Kind of color that on. I'm going to add a little, it's messy. It's messy. And then I'm going to add a little orangey. It's a great way to blend. Orangey, red type breast. Heather says she loves her watercolor pencils. Do you use them a lot, Heather? Because sometimes I forget about them. See how that just blends and just makes beautiful color together? I love it. Okay, that's super pretty. I think I'm going to stop there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to use this because this is what I have here in front of me. I don't think I have another color. So I'm going to stamp I need a thank you card for a dear friend. And so I'm going to use the word thank you. And I'm using Memento ink because on a clear stamp such as this one, if I use Stays On, I would never be able to get that off. So I'm going to use the word thank you. And I left a little blank because I'm going to add some ribbon. I'm going to tie a little bow. I didn't make this card ahead, but I have an idea in my head, so I hope that it works. I'm going to tie a little bow off, a little knot. I'm just tying a knot, not a bow. I might have to adjust my ribbon a little bit. I've got these fingernails on still from the wedding, so sometimes tying a bow and fake fingernails do not jive. It's not horrible, but it needs to be trimmed up. Then I'm going to put the card together. Then I'll have a card all ready to send to my friend. She'll probably be like, what stamp set is that? And me, because she's a demonstrator friend too. Okay, so I'm going to bring straight color. Oh, painting. Okay. Heather, you said she uses more for straight coloring. She thinks she's not a painter. I don't know. I think you could do it. You know what I do sometimes, Heather? I will Google colors, especially on birds or animals, and then I just use the colors that come up. I have a lot of bird books here, so sometimes when it's birds, I will just I'm going to use some dimensionals here. I will just use Google, and Google is my friend, so I get it. I totally get it. I think that it's easier sometimes to do painting with blending brushes than it is to do it with the watercolor pencils. I think they kind of just do their own thing. Let's see if I can get that centered. Okay. One thing I didn't do, and you know what, you've seen me do this. I don't know if this will work on this or not. I'm almost afraid to do it. I might go back and try if I can be careful and not touch things. I might bring in either my blending brush or a little blend and soften this background a little bit. Sometimes I like to do, I'll do a light gray, or I'll do like a pool party, and just make it so it doesn't look like it's just sitting on this white piece of paper. So if I do end up doing that, because I'm afraid, almost afraid to do it on camera because I'll probably make a mistake. But if I do that and it turns out okay, then I'll share it with you. I'll post a picture on my Facebook page. So while you're up here on YouTube, I'm just going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. That way I'm going to do more things on YouTube, and that way you won't miss a thing. So here's my thank you card for my friend. I'm going to put the inside, an inside in it, and sign it and send it. I have a little gift for her. So there is my project for today. I want to post my host code, and I want to talk a little bit about what I'm doing right now. So I am doing a this is my 20-year anniversary, so I am offering a special for my anniversary, and I am giving away mystery boxes. And so when you place an order using the host code there on the screen, then I will give you equal value in some of my retired products. And I try to make sure that they're all in great shape, and some are brand new. Paper, embellishments, ribbon, stamp sets, dies, depending on your order. Now, if your order is over $150, then I just ask that you don't use the code. You'll still get a mystery box, but you'll be your own hostess. So keep that in mind if you're placing an order using the that you want a mystery box. Just go ahead and place the box. If you want, you can message me or send me an email to remind me. But I usually get notifications. I'll see it, and then I will have a mystery box waiting for you. Or for a small fee, I can ship it to you. I'll try to keep the cost down as low as I can. So that's what's happening here in March. We've got a lot of new things online. There's online exclusives. Make sure you're checking out the online exclusives. They're not in any catalog. You won't find them there. They're selling out. Some things are already sold out. They came on March 1st, and some things are really sold out already. So I hope you get to grab what you want there, because there's some really, really cute things. So I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to thank you. Some of you have been with me for 20 years, and some of you are new. And it's been a real journey, and I love the ride, and I can't imagine myself leaving Stamping Up or doing anything different unless life just changes that for me. So